You have no idea the amount of ignorant mess we're about to get into right now.
Sit your $5 ass down before I make you.
Hello and welcome to a brand new preview episode for Black on Black Cinema. I'm your host, Jay. I'm here with my co-host, Micah.
Hey.
And Terrence.
What's up?
There's a lot of problems with pre-production to get this episode started. So it's just clearly going to be that type of evening.
Oh, God.
Okay, we're back. This is preview episode for episode 148, Blindspotting. This is the 2018 film. Terrence, you can give a little bit of a summary of this because you are the only one who's actually seen this.
Yeah. Well, basically, it's the story of two friends. One of which is he's gotten out of jail and he has a week left on parole. And he's a black guy, white guy. He gets out. The black guy has a week left on parole, and things happen. Like, I don't want to give too much away.
Okay.
But it deals with a lot of things that we technically deal with in our lives: gentrification, race relations, police brutality, recidivism, things like that. It's good. I'm going to tell you a 5 out of 5 for me.
Wow.
Before
right.
I even
Before
yeah. So yeah.
All right. So it is my goal to tear this movie apart
Yes.
for no apparent reason. Got
Yeah.
it.
Find all the
kidding.
flaws in it.
All right, cool. So we will we'll talk about Blindspotting in depth next week. But this week's preview episode, we are going to deal with. So apparently, Terry Crews got in a lot of trouble recently because he put his very large foot in his mouth by basically saying that he didn't think that kids who came from a household that has two parents in it, a mom and a dad specifically, that they would be malnourished because they don't have these experiences from both genders, I guess. And of course, people got up his ass about it because like that's kind of wildly unacceptable language. What did you guys think? Do you agree with Terry Crews? What I should say is it's not wildly unacceptable language. People found it to be wildly unacceptable. What did you guys think? I'll start with you, Terrence, and then then we'll talk to the only man who could possibly understand this, the parent.
Well, before we get in the conversation, I'm gonna let Terrence go first, but I feel like we need to put everything in context, right? Terry Crews tweeted out, "I've reiterated many times that same-sex couples and single parents can successfully raise a child, but I believe paternal and maternal love are like vitamins and minerals to humanity. No matter where you get the paternal and maternal love, my purpose is to give paternal love." Someone responded to that tweet, "Love is not gendered. A child will not starve with only one gender loving them." And Terry Crews replied to that tweet, "But they will be severely malnourished." And then that's the tweet that has everybody up in arms.
All right, Terrence, your thoughts.
When I saw it, I was just like, okay, whatever. Like I didn't really have any thought on it, to be perfectly honest with you. There is something to be said about someone being raised in a two-parent household. Micah, you were, right?
Yeah.
This is not a good example. It's a real argument against.
There are things that like you just can't get from your mother. Like if you're a guy, well, actually, whether you're male or female, there's this thing that you can't get just from your father or your mother or your mother and your father. They're right. Love is not gendered, but experiences are. You know?
Yeah, that's a good point.
So, like, I don't know. I'm the product of a two-parent household, but I don't know my real father. But it's paternal love regardless. He's my stepfather. So, and it was just your mom, right? But you had like uncles and shit also.
You're talking to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So we almost have 3 different experiences on the podcast, kind of.
Yeah, I know. That's
really
kind of
strange.
why I wanted to do the topic.
I don't know. I'm not going to say I don't completely disagree with him. Some people are like, nah, fuck that nigga. He's canceled. Like, I'm not going to completely disagree with him because, again, like I said, their experiences shape who you are. And people growing up in 2-parent households can end up being really shitty. People growing up in single-parent households can grow up being really shitty. It's all dependent upon the person or the people that are raising you. But again, the experiences you get from the different genders is, I think, probably what he was trying to say. But he did it up very poorly with that whole malnourished thing. Like, that was a bad line.
He probably,
but I kind of understood what he was trying to say.
When he was typing it, he probably was like, "Yo, I got him."
Nailed it.
The perfect analogy for a comeback. Bam, nailed it. Nailed it.
His pecs were popping as he was typing it.
So I don't know, man. I really don't know. I can't really. I'm not mad at him.
No, I'm not mad at him.
Yeah.
I can disagree with him, but the idea that he's canceled is so silly to me. I'm not even going to get into that.
Yeah, how do you go from like being an advocate for believing victims in the Me Too movement to like, no, fuck you, nigga. Like, this is so, like it's so ridiculous. Like, this time we live in is stupid.
Well,
It's
that
really
just goes to show you
fucking dumb.
how silly it is, how truly silly it is. Like, this guy's my best friend. He's speaking for me. Oh, he said something slightly out of turn that I didn't really care for. No, fuck him forever. Like, oh, okay. Well, wow.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
It's foolish.
You didn't even have to try. Micah, your thoughts on this?
I knew it was all a lie. All that social justice and equality and believing victims. I knew that was a lie because he's a man and that's what niggas do. They lie. Yeah, I understand what he was trying to say. Once again, this is a perfect example of why you don't need to be on Twitter. You really don't. Nobody, famous,
At
not
all.
famous, nobody needs to be on Twitter. If there was one thing I could do when I rewound time, it wouldn't be to kill Hitler. It wouldn't be to stop slavery. No, it would be to make sure that Twitter never came to be, because it is terrible. I get what he was saying, but yo, come on, yo. You gotta do better. You gotta do better in how you word things. You could have just not said anything. You could have not responded. You made your point perfectly in that first tweet. You made your point perfectly. You acknowledged that there does not need to be an intergendered household to raise a child. That's 100% true. Single parents can raise children on. Single mothers have done it forever. Single fathers, less so statistically. Dual parents,
They out there.
Yeah, they out there. Two men. Like, I follow Sean T, the insanity guy. Him and his partner. They just had 2 boys. They found a surrogate, and bam, the surrogate.
I'm not okay with that. And I'm not, because I don't think you should put people through that level of cardio. That's my only issue with that nigga, yo. No.
They have 2 boys, and they each look like the one parent. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
So it's
Wait.
Yeah, they use a woman.
The turkey
they used
based
a
thing.
woman
Did they do
to-
it? Did they do it old school? No, they didn't.
but look,
Did she get it from the tap?
and look,
I'm being a real asshole.
and from, at least from the pictures that I've seen on Facebook, they love those kids with all their heart. I don't know too many lesbians or famous lesbians that have children, but I'm sure that Ellen and Portia, if they have kids, will raise a perfectly fine child. So you made your point perfectly, but you also acknowledge that, like Terrence said, there are different experiences that men and women have, and to have those in the house 24/7 is a good thing. And I agree with him, right? Like, to have that perspective in the house at all times is good. It's not needed, but it's good, right? And he could have just stopped there, but he didn't. And that's
No. I mean, that's the plague of Twitter, right? You always got to get one more reply. I'm going to get the last word. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess I agree with the two of you, except for your last part about it being, well, you said it's not necessary, but it's a good thing to have.
It's not a bad thing. It's not a detriment. And
no, I don't think it's a detriment. I would agree with that.
Right? Like
right.
some mothers have been. Matter of fact, look at any athlete. look at any athlete. 9 times out of 10, they're raised by a single parent. Because they have to have that drive. Like stuff like that builds character in some people. I don't know what the hell happened to you, but in some people,
I knew there was no fucking way you're gonna let me slide with that.
But it builds character and it builds conviction.
It does.
And I'll compliment you for one quick second. You do have a certain level of conviction and a certain life experience that I simply will not have. For better or for worse. You're a fighter because you were raised by someone who had to fight. My mother was not a fighter. My dad was a fighter, but he was the wrong kind of fighter. He was a fisticuffs fighter, and that didn't really work out too well most of the time.
No.
So, but that has shaped your personality, and my experience has shaped my personality. Terrence's experience with his intergendered household is even more different, right? Like there was a point in my life where I hated my father. I hated him, right? And that's when I was younger, right? But I even asked my mother, I said, why are you still with him? And he didn't, yeah. But looking back, like, nah, man.
It was weird because you were like 25 at the time talking like that. It's just fucking strange.
But looking back, I see all the things that he did and the all the positives and the negatives and shit like that. So, and I'm sure Terrence has a similar story or and you have a different story because I've met your uncles. Jesus Christ, Jay. Your uncles are like they are the quintessential old black men.
Yeah, that's where I get a lot of my bullshit from.
Yeah, like
that's a large part of where I get like a lot of things, like my love of politics and like debate and things like that. Yeah, absolutely.
So, it's not necessary in order to raise a child, but it's
right.
not bad either.
Yeah, no, look, I largely, I mean, I think I actually completely agree with that. It's, you made the point that I was going to make, which is like this idea that you need to have both parents there. I think it's false, right? I think it's an oversimplification of things, but I think you having an uncle, like I had my uncles who were very much a part of my life growing up, like they were the male influence that I had because my dad was for the most part not there. So I don't like the idea of like has to be a father and a mother, and if it's not that, then it's fucking broken. Like that's stupid, and like the malnourished thing that makes you sound like an asshole, frankly. Like I get your point. It's just not. It's not the best way of saying that, right? I think there's also a larger conversation to be had, which is, oftentimes when, especially young black men are more wayward or they have some issues in their youth, or even as they get older, it's like, well, you didn't have a father there, and that's why. But that's not the end all be all as to why kids have problems. There are tons of people in this country and around the world that have both parents who turn out to be complete and utter fuck ups. They just do. Right. It depends on the type of parents. It depends on the type of influences you have, right? Not just this sort of generic mom, dad influence. Like that to me feels overly simplistic.
Frankly, I mean, if the dad is a fucking deadbeat, it is a detriment to have a deadbeat in the house 24/7.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's a lot of people who stay together who only do it because, well, they need to have a good male influence or they need to have a male influence, right? Because those are two vastly different things. And it's like they need to have a male influence in the house. So we're going to stick it out even though we miserable. Well, then you just model a shitty relationship to your kid.
Yep.
Right? Like that's also a massive detriment to them. That doesn't help them. It only hurts them. So, yeah, I mean, look, canceling Terry Crews, that's beyond stupid to me. That dude does way more good and talks about things in a more positive light than he does wrong. So, no, I'm not ready to act like a 6-year-old. But that being said, I mean, he got pulled up by one of the women he does Brooklyn Nine-Nine with, and he basically came out and was like, yeah, I got told that I was wrong and told why, because I think the woman that pulled him up, she's a lesbian, I think, in real life, not her character, but and so I think she was kind of like, maybe she has kids with her partner, I don't know, or wife, but I think that was kind of like pulling him up about that. So, I mean, look, that's what you want, right? You want people to make mistakes, learn from those mistakes, and grow, right? Now, whether he did or didn't, just because he was trying to lessen the Twitter backlash, I can't say, but I'd like to think that he actually listened to this person.
Yeah, let's hope so.
He seems like the type that would take the criticism and be like, "Oh, okay, I get it." But who knows?
Yeah, I just think we have to have 21st century thought processes in the 21st century at a certain point. Like, you can't just be like, well, back in my day, a man and a woman got together, made sweet love under Jesus's purview, and they had a kid, and it was fine. Like, no, like the world's a little bit more complex than that. You have same-sex couples, you have kids who grow up with transgender parents, and like there are the single parents obviously have existed since a nigga realized he could fuck 2 women. So since forever. Yeah, so the world's changing. So you can't make blanket assumptions about family life. I think that's wrong. Like, there are kids who are adopted who do very well. There are kids who are adopted that don't do very well in life. There are kids who come from a single parent that do very well, or come from a dual parent household and do poorly. So it's just a matter of the influence, like the type of influence, and not just the fact that they are influenced. That matters to me, or at least in my opinion.
Yeah. You don't want R. Kelly in the house. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh, well, he's a good fatherly influence. No, I don't care that he can sing. Go away. What's that?
He can't sing. He can't sing, and he's the worst songwriter in the world.
You don't think R. Kelly can sing?
Not anymore. No.
Oh, not anymore. Well, that may or may not be true.
No, it's 100% true. It's 100%. He doesn't sing. He talks through his songs. And look, I loved all that nasty R. Kelly music before I found out that he was actually singing to a 4-year-old. But like his later stuff, like, he was proud that he could make a song out of anything, right? Like, look at Trapped in the Closet. Like, yeah, Trapped in the Closet was a phenomenon, but it's not good, yo.
Like, I've never watched all the episodes. Is there like 85 episodes or something?
I didn't know it got as far as it did. I was like, wow, really? Is
like,
that
there were cops and midgets and like, it was weird, yo. But the cop was a midget. Like, nigga, what? Is this a song? That's when R. Kelly jumped the shark for me, yo. Like that, like verse 6 of Trapped in the Closet. That was it for me, yo.
Yo, that's not a line of that, yo. Like, knock it off.
Like, no, I think there was a cop and a midget or a little person. We're gonna get a laugh.
Yo, I could not survive.
No, there was.
Yeah, I cannot survive it if he sung the cop was a midget. Like, yeah, that's ridiculous. Like, this is utterly unfair.
I don't, he's going to jail.
Yeah, he's going to
Yeah,
jail.
no, he's already arrested. By the way, there's a little side
Again?
note. Yeah, he got arrested. He owes $161,000 in
Child support.
child support. So they were like, clink, clink.
What,
Come with
did
us.
this happen today?
Yeah. Like right after the CBS interview with Gayle King came out. He was like,
Jesus
nope.
Christ.
Good. Fuck him. Throw his ass into jail. All right. I think that's pretty much it for the preview episode. Look, make sure that you not only check out, next week's episode on Blindspotting, which I'm very excited to do. Terrence, you've talked very highly about it, but share out the shows. Look, we're on, we're trying to get, build up that base. I think we have a really nice and fun and interesting fan base. We like to hear from you guys and everything else, but share out the shows. It really does help us. I mean, I'm sure you listened over the last 2 episodes, got to hear the HBO ad that we did, which was really beneficial to us. Look, help us ball out. And the more listeners we have, the more we can become obnoxious rich people. And that would be cool to watch, I think. We're not rich, but that would help us. Then we can do more advertising and more things like that. We promise the ads will always be interesting to listen to, at least. But shout out the shows. Also, just realize that Black on Black Cinema is only one of our shows in the TMP Studios network. Don't worry, TMP Studios isn't run by some other white person in the background. It's run by us. So we have other shows, Dense Pixels, which is our video game podcast that Micah and Terrence are on, that they co-host. The Nerdpocalypse, which is our movie TV news show that we do every week, which the 3 of us are on. That's ours. Look Forward, which is our political podcast, which is myself and Andy. And then there's a number of other shows that we have. So check all that stuff out. You can go to blackandblackcinema.com/premium to sign up for premium content, or you can just go to tnpstudios.com and check out all of our shows right there. So with that being said, we will see you guys next week for Blindspotting.
See you.
Dated.
Bye. You're watching the Black on Black Cinema YouTube channel. Make sure you check out our full reviews of Black movies, past and present. And every other week, we do a preview episode where we talk about a random topic that affects the Black community.